everybody, you know me, I'm Allie Vasquez, but I'm here introducing a very good longtime friend of mine, a fellow F-winger, for those of you niche Urbana knowledge, back when the fine arts used to be in the F-wing, they moved it, Claire, I'm very sorry. But, well, it's in other parts of the building too. But this is my friend Claire Goran-Flo. Claire, introduce yourself, please.
I'm Claire, and I own a company called Jewelbox Art and Design, and I'm an artist, I'm a painter, and I also offer full service interior design, as well as contract services to other interior designers and builders, such as drawings, material specifications, things like that. And I also offer design consultation services and art consulting.
So I feel like there are people who do interior design and they shine, like they're really into that housey parts. And I really like Claire because while she does integrate the housey parts, she is an artist first. Artist first.
Yeah.
Yes. I feel like there's been a shift recently where people for, I don't know, probably most of the 2010s were living in like pre-staged for resale value homes that didn't really have a lot of personality. Like, I'll take a Tuscan kitchen from the 2000s because at least it was giving something as opposed to like sterile, gray, live, laugh, love. Like, tell me what your thoughts are on that.
I very strongly believe that every person's home should reflect their personality and just be a sanctuary for their just soul to live in and feel comfortable there. I think it's super important for us to feel fulfilled as human beings in a space that reflects us.
Even as I'm going through houses now and seeing, it's not so staged. Of course, like personalizations, like you have to take out, but I feel like there's like a lot more room for interpretation. There's wallpaper, there's color, there's all kinds of things. And people are kind of starting to see past that.
Yeah, I think so. I agree.
What would you describe as your personal like interior style?
I am very mid-century modern. I love mid-century 1950s, 1960s. I just love the shapes, the colors. And I just feel like that really resonates with my personal, I guess, approach. And I feel like there is an artistic aspect about it. And I also like just eclectic things in general. I love things with a story. I love old pieces of furniture that may have traveled from afar, etc. I love things that have some type of personality to them.
I personally would love to go full mid-century modern, and that will be a part of my story once the animals and the children have fled the coop, or at least are old enough to like not ruin everything.
Yeah.
But I definitely, like when you and I were going through going through pieces of my house, I think we tried to add little mid-century elements here and there. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about what Claire and I have done here in my house. I kind of just use Claire as a consultant. I had a vision, and Claire helped me like funnel that vision into kind of what I wanted. And obviously our styles kind of intertwined on some level. And so like Claire has cats, so she understands the struggle of furniture. I would say that cats are probably harder on furniture than dogs.
I fully 100% agree with that.
I think one of the best things I liked about what you did was that you were like, yes, please go ruggable, because, there are probably some people who would be like, oh, ruggable, it's very like commercial. But right now I'm looking at my rug and I'm like, oh my gosh, that needs to go in the washing machine. Like real bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that about ruggable. I have an amazing ruggable rug in my bedroom right now, and it integrates beautifully with the design I did in there. My cat destroys most things, as we discussed, and I feel so comfortable with it in there because I know it's so easy to clean. It's just great. So if you have kids or animals, it's a great option.
What are you seeing as far as your clients, like what kind of pops of color are being put in there? Because I think a lot of people, again, we're coming out of a gray era. What are people doing as far as color? My big controversial was the black trim. I don't know if I this, but the guy who bought my house came back in. He just waltzed through the door. I was handing him his mail. He waltzed through the door and was like, "What? You got the trim? Oh my god! What the heck?" And he had a complete mental breakdown when he saw it. But for me, I think it adds like some sophistication, but also something that my family can't ruin. Like it's black there, it's cool, but it's just like a toe in the water. One day all gone, oh, we're going to blow it out. But
Yeah.
what are you seeing with your clients and color?
So right now, for instance, I have a client who is doing a Spanish Revival Mediterranean home, but they're
Oh,
doing some little touches of bohemian flair to it. So I love that kind of combination. It's kind of like outside of the box, taking a little bit of an edge from a very, you know, sophisticated, elegant, sometimes minimal style. So I love that they're open to integrating another style in with it, which is just so fun. Fun colors, like we're doing like maybe some mossy greens and some mustards, playing with pattern. But then, keeping it relatively clean for other areas of the home. And some areas very true to Spanish Mediterranean, revival. And then, some other clients I'm working with, they're doing like very clean, calm living rooms, but then they'll have like a powder bath that's like blush pink with gold accents and,
seen a lot.
purple lacquered cabinetry, like fun stuff like that. And then, otherwise it's like a white walled home, but like other little hidden areas where you can close the door, they're just like having more fun with wall colors and, fabric patterns and things like that in other areas of the home. So I think in general, people have started to, especially after COVID, realize that they want their space to be more comfortable and more interesting. And so I'm all for that.
Have you seen people now? This, like, again, I think we're breaking the rules. That's what
Mhm.
I love about
Yeah.
what I think is happening right now in interior design. Have we seen painting the ceilings dark colors?
Yes, and I love it. The other thing that I'm super excited about right now is that a lot of designers, I haven't gotten to do it yet, but I'm really hoping I can convince someone to do it in a project. Painting the trim, baseboard, and doors the same color,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily white. So say you have like a blue door with blue trim and baseboards, and then maybe the walls can be white or an altered, a different color. And I just think that's a really cool, fun thing because, for so long it's been the standard to do white trim, white doors, and it's like let's have fun with it.
Yes, I feel like it's like there. Those are like that's fun, like putting on a fun pair of earrings. Like
Yeah, exactly.
trim the door, like that's earrings. And guess what? We can change it. I mean, it's a pain in the ass, but everything's a pain in the ass. So like just live, live, laugh, love it while you can, because I mean it's so fun. Where do you work? Who have you worked with, and how do you do that?
hmm I've worked for several design firms over the last 10 years. Last year, I decided to open my own company, and I'm just working out of my home now. And I love it. I have a lot of flexibility. While I was working for other firms, I got a lot of experience doing remote projects. So I did a project in Colorado. I did a project in Port Aransas, which is like a coastal beach town here in Texas. And I am a highly organized, highly detailed person. And so that's great when you're doing remote projects because you have to have high level communication skills. You have to be super organized and on top of everything. So I loved every minute of it. And, the great thing is you're using all the skills that you already have. You just have to be hyper vigilant about making sure everything's in order. So it was great. And so I really enjoy it because basically when I do remote projects, I just need sometimes a little bit more information than I would need if I were doing a local project. So I can't go to your home to do the measurements. So you provided some measurements for me, and that allowed me to create some basic floor plans so that I could show you how to integrate your rug or rugs with different pieces of furniture in your home that were existing or were going to be new. And so because I didn't have all of the measurements for all of your furniture, like for your living room, I gave you a couple ideas of how you could potentially lay out your furniture. And
Mm.
because I was consulting, it was kind of like, here's an option. You're not married to it, but if you wanted to do it, this might look great and be comfortable for you. And so that's kind of the fun part about remote projects and just consulting. And so I offer full service remote, but I also do, consulting is obviously also an option as well.
Where I mess up is I have a vision in my head, but I don't know. I am not a visual person. I have a vision, but I am not a visual person. Like I have to have everything written down or like spoken to me. So when you say like, oh, we have to really bring me back to reality, and I'll order a rug and it will be like this big, and the rest of the furniture is this big and it will look comical. So you really helped me. You were like, stop what you're doing, measure. And then I was like, this is the rug that I want. And you were like, okay, you could do these 2 sizes, pick which one you want. And then like, you know, we did a lot of ordering, returning, but you really helped me to take my vision and make it real, because otherwise I would be sitting with like little dollhouse furniture. One thing that interior designers do that I think that people don't really understand is that they are the contractor's boss. I think people forget that all the time. So when you're doing remote projects, you have to find someone in the area who can do the work and will do it the way you want. And trust me, from knowing contractors in my area, they don't always take great direction, and especially from somebody who's far away. So tell me how that works.
Yeah, well, I've been super lucky, and my approach to working with a contractor is that we need to be best friends. And that doesn't always happen, but that's always the goal. So yes, they have to take direction from designers, and that's a very delicate relationship. And there has to be a mutual level of respect, because what they're doing is taking a designer's ideas and executing it and making it a reality. And so that's where, again, like high level communication comes into play. And just being able to, they will sometimes have ideas. Like I may say, like, I want this to happen with the design, but because they are working with sometimes already standing structures or even new, sometimes they'll be like, well, we can't do that, but we can do this. And just having that kind of openness and flexibility is super important in that relationship. And I think that just again, like they're a person, they have their own version of, or their own area of expertise, and it just has to be you just have to play off of each other, but know that, like, you just need to be gentle but also firm, because and I think that goes too for like in a consulting situation. Sometimes the client has to be relaying that information to the contractor, and ultimately it's going to be your space, so just being able to have those conversations.
I think a lot of people think that being an interior designer is like being a professional shopper at Home Goods.
Mm-hmm.
And you were actually like a gigantic project manager, really.
Yeah.
The artistic part, and that all kind of, I mean, unfortunately, probably comes secondary, because first you have to be good at managing people. If you have this beautiful artistic vision and you're like meek and mild and can't tell a contractor or can't tell a client, like, this is what we need to do and this is what needs to happen, then you're not getting any business. You're not having successes.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that a lot of times also when the contractor and the interior designer are besties, it helps the client as well, because sometimes I think they like to say, well, he said this and she said that, and that. And so that relationship being very strong and being front helps the client as well.
Absolutely. Client, contractor, designer, it's a team. And that is the best way, honestly, that everyone needs to go into a project with that mindset. If that is not the mindset, it can be troubling. So, in everyone's best interest, it should be a harmonious situation, and that's what makes it fun and exciting. And the end result and the journey should be fun. It's such a privilege to be able to build or redo your home, and just being able to enjoy it. There's always going to be hiccups along the way, no matter what. But it should be fun and joyful.
Yeah, just like your space should be fun. And
Yeah, exactly.
Claire, now that we have figured out exactly how you do what you do, can you tell us your top 3 favorite things? And we will be having pictures of those, because obviously it's the coolest. What are the top 3 creations in your portfolio?
Sure. For my personal portfolio, one of my favorite things I've done recently is a bathroom, and we just went nuts with the wallpaper. Just had so much fun with the wallpaper. 1950s home, pink tile that we couldn't remove. And the cabinet color was a little bit drab, because it was like had been repainted a long time and then not repainted enough. So refreshed, chose colors all out of the wallpaper. So I had so much fun with that. So that was really fun. And let's see. I don't have pictures of it because it was for another firm that I worked for, but I worked on a commercial restaurant project that was really interesting. Um, and it's fun because while doing commercial projects is very challenging, the education that you get while working on those projects is incredible. I mean, it's totally, residential and commercial design are very different. You're doing similar principles, but it's such a different process. The client relationship is very different because of their expectations and timelines, because it's for a business. So you're kind of up against different deadlines and budget restraints, things like that. So that was just an incredible journey.
I feel like residential has to be like more practical and like, traffic and stuff like that. But commercial, you can just go nuts. And like when you're designing a restaurant, just make it like as out of the box and as cool as possible.
Yeah, and so there's a very fine line there too, because there's more rules that you have to follow, but you can do more interesting things with like fabrics and things like that. And there are certain, like materials that you should be using in commercial so that they stand up to high traffic and things like that. But the cool thing about our industry is that with wallpaper is a great example, and also just I would say in general, furniture fabrics and finishes the commercial finish industry is trying to kind of match residential. And so there's more available and you can have more fun with it now, which is really great. And then I'd say my other third, let's just go with my art. I'm super lucky and grateful that I get to take time and be making art also, because when I was working for other people, the only time I had to do it was outside of work, and I was already really tired and drained. But now I have a little bit more time to just, designate for that other area of my creative life. And I'm just so grateful that I get to do that and potentially integrate it. But that's not just the goal, it's more like just something to be a fulfilling aspect.
Do
But
you have your own personal, like, do you go into a space and the client says, I want a piece of art here, and you're like, I'll create it for you to match?
that's definitely could be an option. Yeah,
Do you sell your art?
I do. I sell it on my website. I also, there's a really amazing organization here in Austin called Women in Their Work. And I've done a little bit of volunteer work for them. It's an all women run organization. It's based on getting women or female artists known in the area. And they do incredible exhibitions. So I'm a member, I'm registered with them. So my art is also on their website in the hopes of kind of spreading the word. And yeah, it's really great. And it's also just nice to be part of a female organization for artists because the art, creative and artistic fields are surprisingly highly competitive. And so it's just nice to have, a community to support that.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting because, like, for me, an art brain and a business brain are two separate things.
Yeah.
And when you are asked to own your own business that is artistic, I'm sure a lot of people like fall between the cracks and probably perish before they've even begun because you kind of you said you were hyper organized.
Mhm.
A lot of people who are artistic are not,
Mhm.
including myself. I'm very creative. I don't know about artistic. I'm creative, but I can't handle I need multiple systems and multiple
Mhm.
people working behind me in order to make anything happen.
Yeah.
So I think that that's very unique that you bring both of those things to the table.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I enjoy it.
What are some projects that you are working on right now for residential clients?
Sure. Right now I'm doing a couple new build homes. So one is like there will be their just, main residence, and another is a beach house, just like a little fun vacation home that this other client will also be renting out to other people, both in coastal Texas towns. And super fun, very different styles. So that's always awesome. I'm also doing a couple contract projects for other designers, helping them because they don't necessarily have, or they're either too busy or don't have the skills to get what they need done as quickly as their client needs. So I'm helping out with that. That's currently what I'm working on, just building the business and just kind of being open to what comes my way.
So what are you doing in the beach house? Because I'll tell you what my family's beach house looked like until probably about two years ago. and that can only be described as sponge painted shells everywhere on crackle, on the cabinetry,
Okay.
shell pulls. Every drawer pull was a different shell. And then
Oh.
sponge painted not only on the walls like as border, because there's border everywhere, but also then they would bring that onto the curtains. It was a lot to we took down everything and we just made it gray because I was like, I need no visual interest in this room because it's been so disgusting. So how do we do, what is a modern beach house vibe right now?
Yeah. So this particular client wanted New Orleans inspired.
Oh,
So there's like some traditional flair to just a couple little tiny things, like the legs on their island are going to be kind of like a turned wood leg, so that it kind of looks like a piece of furniture. Not too traditional actually, but just like a touch. And then she loves fun wallpaper. So we're doing some really fun wallpaper in bathrooms. And also, so it's kind of like a combination of some little traditional touches, but also like some clean modern. And then also it's Texas and it's the beach, so there'll be a couple things with like some rattan and but like not too crazy. But kind of just like the vibe is easy breezy, but very tailored to her specific style. She loves pops of color, so
watch me Google Texas beach vibes right now because that is very like the fact that I know that Texas has beaches, but now that we're talking about it, I'm like, what the hell does that look like? So
I think it's
well,
totally different for everybody.
so it's a
Oh, mhm.
little more that inspired, right? Like more like I don't want to say Caribbean, but it is slightly just a little bit. It's
Yeah.
not like Ocean City. No.
Right. No, no. Yeah.
It's not that, but it is a little bit more Caribbean, but also not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say. And people love, you know, people are loving beach colors, which I think is perfectly appropriate. Why not? But it really is just depends on the person's style, like what they want to experience when they're on vacation. And I think that open-mindedness is really important too. Like if you get to stay at a beach house or if you're building or renovating a beach house, like just like your own home, it should cater to your style and what you want to feel.
Yeah. Sometimes the peaches, the pastels get a
Hmm.
little,
Yeah,
it's a little drab. Uh-oh.
it is. Yeah. Or predictable.
Very predictable.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Claire, for talking to us. We will have information below on how anybody can get in touch with Claire and, really upgrade, elevate their spaces. What is next for your business, Claire?
I'm just working on having fun and networking and just I always just want to my approach to design is to cater to the person's style. I don't have like a signature style that I try to imprint on projects. So yeah, I just whatever comes my way and see what happens.
Thank you.
Thank you.